The Joe Rogan Experience.
And if you're one of those people like me who, I've always loved the idea of UFOs, I became extremely weary talking to people who are UFO believers and UFO fanatics because there's so many of them that are full of shit. And not just full of shit, they're childishly delirious. Like the way they talk about things. I mean, there's so many people that I'm in contact. They reach me in the night and they explain to me what we're doing to the ocean is wrong. And like, you're like, okay.
This is one of the reasons I want to do the show.
I'm sure.
Well, it's no joke. We've had people literally camp out on our front lawn and, in some ways I can relate to some of these people. Maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something and all their friends think they're crazy. But hey, now there's this guy I heard on the radio and at least he knows I'm not full of shit. So I got to talk to him.
Right.
And so most of the correspondence I get are people trying to get a hold of me going, Bob, you got to listen to me. I'm coming to talk to you. I'm driving from Oklahoma or whatever. But some of them are just fucking batshit crazy, and they're frightening.
There's schizophrenics that are involved in the conspiracy world. So there's a lot of people that have real issues.
Joe, it would be a disservice to your audience to not say that we have to look at what's going on now and understand. I've heard on your show a bunch of stuff about what's going on now, and to not really understand what's going on now, you can't see Bob's story in the correct light after 30 years. And at some point we should just touch upon that. The biggest being that things like the Tic Tac UFO case that came out, I've heard people, even on the show, say, oh, there's a glitch in the radar. That's a data poor perspective. You just don't know yet what's really going on. Commander Fravor, I was able to get the interview with him, to talk with him way before it became public. I got that from him. He saw it. Other pilots saw it. This is a big thing that's going on right now. They had more sightings on the East Coast recently, cubes with spherical ores. These are not aerodynamic, and these are the people we trust to defend us on 9/11. Commander Fravor protected Los Angeles on 9/11. So we trust them, but they're not trained observers. Radar, individuals see these things, and the big one, just to throw it down so we can consider a story a little differently, there's more depth to it. The big one is the United States government has admitted that they have been continuously studying the UFO phenomenon. That program was called ATIP, was called OSAP. That's the mother program. George Knapp got that out. They announced through the New York Times about ATIP, but OSAP, these acronyms, OSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Applications Program. Who cares? That was the mother program. So they've admitted we didn't stop studying UFOs in 1969 with Project Blue Book. We don't think it's crazy. We actually want to reverse engineer the technology. That's why on your other show, you said, what's this AAV thing? It's like they're making up another UFO name. Well, hold on. There's a reason. Because in the documents, the DIA documents that George Knapp released, that everybody said was fake till now they know is real, they call them AAVs, which is Advanced Aerospace Vehicles. People are getting the acronyms wrong. So the reason for the terminology change is so that we can mimic what we're reading in the DIA documents. People can look for that now. So they changed the names to get people away from UFO or UAP, even like Hillary Clinton said on air, right? So
what are you talking about? Hillary Clinton said.
Hillary Clinton informed the public on Jimmy Kimmel, oh, Jimmy, we don't call them UFOs anymore. We call them UAPs, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. Right, so she kind of was giving. The Clintons are very into the UFO topic. Senator Reid, he's done a lot for the subject, the study of it. Right, so she informed the public so they could look for the right term. So these terms are important because the DIA in those documents, they've been calling them AAVs for quite some time now.
And they changed the name to anomalous.
No, that's kind of a misnomer.
No,
so they always mess around with things, but it's actually advanced.
Right, but when they're describing it in the news, they were calling it anomalous aerospace vehicles.
Totally, and that's cool. Also saying anomalous aerospace threats, AAT, right, because they want the sense of a threat.
Right.
So my point is, if people don't know this now and they think this stuff is fantasy, this part of it, that we're studying it, that we take it seriously, we're spending money on it, and that we're getting great data from visual pilots to radar. That's why we know it's aerospace. They dropped from 80,000 feet. But guess what? That's the top scope of the Spy 1 radar is 80,000 feet. So the radar system they were using, it was coming from above that. So my point is this. if you don't understand that this is happening, you're just behind the curve because you don't have the information because of the stigma that you're talking about. I saw you get totally upset with the UFO topic. I met you first when you were totally upset with the UFO topic. It's the people.
When
you're doing your
pull this microphone.
I'm sorry, man. When you're doing your show, the Joe Rogan Questions Everything, I could see how frustrating it is. Trust me, I have been frustrated to hell. Luckily, my mentor is George Knapp, and he's taught me the pitfalls as I went through it. My whole point in this rant right here is just that we have to now look at Bob's story, but knowing the facts, not someone saying it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a glitch. They're not. And so if you don't know that, you just don't have the information yet.
Well, not just that in the facts as we know them in 2019, not in 1988.
Absolutely.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Let me ask you this one then. What do you think about all this, the Pentagon saying that there's crafts that are coming from another world?
That's New World Order.
What do you think that is, though?
Getting people to believe in the fake alien invasion.
So what do those things are these people keep saying?
It's probably, who knows? The Nazis were scaring their people with UFOs. They made UFOs, and they were scaring people. It's like look at the timeline.
The Nazis were trying to develop some kind of an actual flying saucer,
and
right?
they were scaring people, and they were using look, we're going to save you. Look, UFOs. They were scaring them. The government's going to save you from the UFOs, right? So 1946, World War II's over. 1946-47, Operation Paperclip. That's when we took a bunch of Nazis, and Russia took a bunch of Nazis, and so 1947, Roswell. Right there. Roswell was the beginning of the UFO craze. Right after Roswell, all these comic books, Mars Attacks, in the 50s, all these shitty-ass space movies and alien movies. There was Star Trek came, but Roswell kicked it off. That was the first one that kicked it off. So wow, that's 1947. That's right when we brought in all the Nazis. Who knows, man? Maybe them Nazis were like, dude, you guys aren't scaring your people with UFOs. You dumb motherfuckers, just get on it. Boom. So that Roswell, they just take some craft, and then they get the people that they interview probably think it was real. Dude, it was a crash.
So you think it was an orchestrated crash just to freak people out?
I think
that
so.
seems like a money top.
Oh, you
cover it up and hide it?
When anything too expensive? When is anything too expensive for the government?
But the official answer was never that it was a craft. The official answer was that it's a fucking weather balloon, and everybody believed that.
They
showed that.
But people that believe in UFOs, like myself and you, back in the day, I have a different view of UFOs now. But back then, we didn't care that they said, the fact that they said that, oh, it's just a weather balloon. We were like, oh, dude, you guys are bullshit, and you're trying to cover up the real shit.
So they're playing 3D chess.
Exactly. So that's what I think.
So you think it's drones? I'm of the opinion.
Drones, and you know how there was a little red laser point? You fuck with your cat with that shit? You go, tsh, tsh, it's incredible speeds.
Yeah, but there's some stuff. Like the Commander David Fravor one is pretty impossible.
For sure they're seeing stuff. I think Bob saw some shit. Yeah. I think they set him up. That's what I think. I think he's telling the truth, but they set him up. That's what they do. That's what William Cooper said. He was set up too. He worked for the Office of Naval Intelligence, setting up meetings, high-level meetings, and he said he thinks that he was setting up meetings and looking at documents going, oh shit, they're going to be discussing crash UFO shit and reverse engineering crash UFOs. So at first he believed it. Then eventually he realized, oh, they set him up.
So they set him up so that he'll talk about it.
He thinks they set up due to talk a lot big mouths that are drunks. That's what he thinks. They set them up and they fucking, and that's what he
set
believes.
them big mouths that are drunks because they know they're going to give out the information.
And they want them to talk.
So they get in there. They let them see it. And
they go, don't go in we'll be right back. Don't go in that room. We're going to go. And then they go in, they see like Philip Corso. Remember that guy? From the Pentagon back in the day when I was into all this shit, I would look, dude from the Pentagon is saying it. Of course it's got to be true. Dude, a Navy pilot is saying it. Of course, they're the most credible. You're but now looking back, I'm like, dude, now of course it's the dude in the Pentagon. Philip Corso said, he wrote a book the day after or something. He wrote a book about how he saw the bodies in the coffins. He saw the bodies. He goes, I was there. I saw the bodies. I mean, so either he really saw alien bodies, like he walked in a room and they were in a casket and it was an open casket or something like that. Either he really saw that or he did see it and they weren't real or something and he was set up.
Imagine
They set him up.
Fucking crazy diseases would come from an alien body. Can you imagine they would just have an alien body in a room and you could do an autopsy on it with one of those stupid masks on?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just stop and think of that. Because think about like the Europeans that came to North America and killed 90% of the Native Americans with smallpox. Imagine what the fuck aliens have. Imagine what shit that is in there. If they're a biological creature, they probably exist like we do. We're filled with bacteria. We're filled, like there's more E. coli in your gut than have ever been people ever. We're filled with this stuff. Mm-hmm. Imagine what kind of crazy diseases some alien body would have that you have no immunity to. Yeah. No, and just ravages the population. Everyone's dead. And these guys just have these little stupid masks on. They're cutting into this alien.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Is it amazing to you, as spent so long thinking about otherworldly visitors, that now they're releasing all this information and no one really cares?
The world is in such chaos.
No
now.
one cares.
No one cares.
I couldn't
if
care
this
less.
happened in the middle of the Obama administration when everything was going great, it would be giant news.
And what is the news even, that the Pentagon just can't account for all these unidentified flying objects?
Yeah, they don't. They are.
Okay.
There's some of them that could easily be drones because they're not moving at spectacular speeds.
Right.
They're just sort of like hovering over aircraft carriers. Those could be drones. They could be some new style of drone or some new kind of technology that maybe some foreign government has. But there's other ones that were spotted by Air Force pilots and then tracked, and they have detailed data on the speed of these things. They have video of these things going with what appears to be thousands of miles an hour, instantaneously accelerating with no visible propulsion system, no heat signature. They don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
And this is from 2004 off the Nimitz. Commander David Fravor, who was a fighter jet pilot, is like rock solid credentials. You can't, and I've talked to the guy, I had him on my podcast, and even better, he was on Lex's podcast, and Lex did an even better job than I did, and talked to him for 2+ hours about this. And the guy's incredibly credible. That fucking thing, whenever he was tracking, went from the Nimitz tracked it. They tracked it on radar. They tracked it with the onboard sensors, the things that they use for targeting enemy crafts. They tracked this thing from the Nimitz. It went 80,000 feet above sea level to 50 feet in a second.
That's crazy.
They don't know what the fuck it is.
They don't know what it is.
They know that it was jamming their radar. They know it was jamming them, and then it moved when it took off at insane rates of speed. They couldn't even watch it. It just, it's gone. And then it re-emerged at the cat point. The cat point is the predetermined location where the jets are supposed to scramble to during this exercise. So it's literally saying, I know where you guys are going.
Right.
You're going over here.
Right.
Whatever the fuck it is, who knows? But does that mean that it's from another planet? No. It could be some fucking insane technology that the military's developed.
That we don't know. It could be DARPA.
Because have you seen that shit where the military, there's patents for UFO type, see if you can find what those are, because they're developing, or at least they've attempted to develop some sort of gravitational drive that would indicate that at least there's been some thought about developing a craft like that. Now, if you put a person in one of these things and you shot them off thousands of miles an hour, they turn into jello.
Right.
But who says it's a person?
Who knows?
We got a rover on Mars right now taking pictures. There's a helicopter attached to it.
Right.
You got high-resolution photographs from Mars. Here it is. Docs show Navy got UFO patent granted by warning of similar Chinese tech advances. This is what I'm saying. Patent document indicates that the U.S. and China are actively developing radical new craft that seem eerily similar to UFOs reported by Navy pilots. Now, if this is like on paper somewhere where they're trying to get patents and they're telling you the Chinese the military already has something like this, what we're getting is years later.
Right.
They've been probably developing shit like this for decades.
Forever.
So they
Yeah.
probably have some sort of working thing that can move in extraordinary ways.
We are not going to care until Mars Attack style raid on the White House,
Yeah.
like that movie.
Ank.
Yeah, if you're not going to, if you don't land with ray guns and start blasting people, I don't even give a shit. Like, no one's going to care.
We're real weird with it now.
Yeah.
I've always said that if aliens are real, Earth is the Tijuana of outer space.
You're not kidding.
And they come down here when they're fucked up and they want
Right.
to see a show.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Trying to save Tijuana.
No,
no
nobody's thinking about it. Yeah, it's a place to go, and they mention it in a movie.
Yeah.
every now and
You go
then.
see a donkey show.
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez features it in a
Yeah.
vampire movie, and then you get out of there.
It's interesting. It's the one conspiracy that I've never gotten into that much because there's just the information is so tough to come by that I've just always said nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me.
There's something going on. There's
Oh,
something
indeed.
going on, but what that something is remains to be seen.
Have
When
you
the-
seen that video in black that walk into this? It's just two very tall, weird dudes that walk into like a hotel and then leave. Jamie, you can find it easily, and it's just these guys that were supposedly like, you know, something weird happened, and supposedly they're guys that come in like after something weird happens and like shut it down, and they're both very tall and very. And I don't know if it's fake or not. I don't think it is fake though, but I don't know. It could be fake.
Where can one find this video?
It's on YouTube or something. Jamie can find it. It's the real Men in Black. It's like the real, you know, whatever. You know, supposedly there was something that happened where, I don't know, somebody went in after it. Like somebody had to go respond to something, and these two like weird looking dudes came in. Very strange. There's got to be a Men in Black. If we know about, there's got to be some part of the government that deals with that.
Well, there's two schools of thought, right? One school of thought is that the government is way competent to ever keep anything from anybody.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Right.
And there's other schools of thought where you're like, no, there's a perceived buffoonery that's attached to some level of government because there's a lot of people in government that are fucking idiots.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that work at UPS that are fucking
That are
idiots.
idiots, yeah.
But if you get to the highest levels of the organization,
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to ascend to the highest levels of the CIA or the NSA, you're going to probably be brilliant.
Right.
What are the
Right.
odds that you're not?
Right.
You're probably going to have a
And
deep,
a good person. No.
the best people.
But you're
going to have a
gonna
deep
be smart.
understanding
of what's going on.
of foreign policy and how to manipulate things and
Did you not
intelligence.
find black video?
Not really. I found something, but it was like it was animation and stuff. It wasn't really like a hotel. So,
No, I don't know if it was a hotel. There was just two guys that walked in and then left, and they looked
the
very
video
strange.
I found is it's like a description of events of like that happening. I didn't find it
Okay,
like,
well.
actual video. I'm looking.
Well, it's always been one of those things of UFO folklore, right? That these men in black folks,
Yeah,
they
that-
look oddly fake. They look like fake looking skin when
Right.
they show up.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do. If I was going to go interview some guy about UFOs, you know what I would
Yeah.
do? I'd put like weird white makeup on.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd dress in a black suit and I'd ask him strange questions while wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I'd have him freak out.
Why not?
Why not fuck with him?
Yeah.
Why not leave him to the point where what he's going to tell all of his friends is so crazy, no one's going to believe it?
Well, that's part of, I think, what a lot of it is.
Well,
is that-
imagine if you have
Yeah.
an aircraft that's shaped like a pyramid, right? And you're flying it over Philadelphia.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
That's all it is. I don't know what this.
Yeah.
is, though.
Dudes
Well,
wearing suits. But
That,
it is.
to me, that proves it.
Yeah, what is that?
It
Real Men in
proves it
Black.
to me.
What does it say?
That proves it to me.
Well, what is the Niagara Falls? Show canceled. What is that?
Immediately.
Okay.
What is he saying?
Finally, we have perhaps the most conclusive evidence of the real Men in Black. A hotel in Canada, and the manager was a little disturbed when his bellboy informed him that the previous day the hotel had been visited by two tall men dressed completely in black who demanded to speak to him.
Maybe they were
They
Johnny
had-
Cash fans.
Yeah.
What the fuck does
To
that
me-
mean? So they're just this is what's ridiculous with conspiracy theories. Those are
But they
two
didn't
guys
I think
wearing
they didn't
suits.
have eyebrows.
I have a suit. Do you have a suit?
Yes, but I don't think
So
they had
what?
eyebrows. Now that
What is this? They had no eyebrows? Oh, see, that's what I would do. I would fucking shave my
Right.
eyebrows or put some makeup on over them so that I look like a weirdo, and then make them real uncomfortable when they're telling their friends, "Man, you're not
Yeah.
gonna fucking believe this. Look at these guys."
here they are.
Okay, that's got to be from a movie, right? What is that? What is that image from? Let that guy play it out. Let's
And
hear.
that concludes our look at the Men in Black. But
Oh,
remember,
come on,
guys,
that guy's
this
got
has
striped
been a look
ties.
at just a handful of real-life accounts involving these mystery men. There are many more stories to look at online.
Oh, well, as long as they're online.
There's a British guy. There's the Men in Black. There are many mysteries to look at.
As long as there's more stories.
Yeah, online.
That's
There's
all
more
that's
content online we can sink our teeth into.
Catch new episodes of The Joe Experience for free only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch between video and audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the JRE in the background while using other apps and can download episodes to save on data cost, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
You know, Les Stroud.
Yeah.
He did that show about
Survivor Man Bigfoot, yeah.
but it just went away.
Bro. Show. I love Les Stroud. I love him. I love Survivor Man, but that show was so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
He had a guy on the show that is known in the Bigfoot world as being full of shit.
Yeah.
Which is bad. Like, if the Bigfoot world's pretty open-minded. I mean, this is one of the things that I wanted to bring up about that 411 The Hunted thing. There's audio recording that was supposedly taken from the 1970s from Northern California. I want to say Sonoma? I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Northern California, but they call them the samurai sounds. The samurai, and it's the weirdest shit ever, man. It's like these guys had this spot that they would go into the mountains and they would hunt every year. And they built this structure out there, and then they brought recording equipment, and they claimed to have recorded sounds of these animals, these Bigfoot. And that these Bigfoot were around them all the time while they were up there. Now, what's crazy about it is the sounds are so weird. It sounds like someone pretending to be Japanese that doesn't actually speak Japanese. Yeah. Have you ever heard it? No. We'll play it for you. It's because it's the weirdest shit. It sounds so strange and so fake. But, you know, like they have these quote-unquote experts that say the human voice is not capable of making sounds remotely similar to this. The range is, which doesn't make any sense if you know who Michael Winslow is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
That guy that guy went on.
He does a woman peeing when she goes to the bathroom.
He does everything.
Yeah, he does everything.
He did Led Zeppelin. He played Whole Lotta Love with his mouth.
Yeah.
And it sounds incredible. But this samurai sound, like there's these loud whoops, whoops, and these guys are like in the foreground, you know, like the guys who are recording, they're trying to communicate with these things. They sound so calm. I mean, if there really was giant fucking 8-foot apes out there wandering around, like, you know, 200-300 yards away from you, screaming and whooping and talking, would you really, and you're in the woods, would you really be so calm? Wouldn't you be freaking the fuck out with these guys? Do you have it?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I find the right thing because I'm stumbling across some traps.
Oh.
It's like people are fucking around the internet.
I wish I could remember the gentleman's name.
Well, I think I have it, is all I'm saying. So, Ronald J. Moorhead and Alan Berry, maybe? Is that right?
Yes, Ron Moorhead. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's it. The Sierra Mountains. That's what it is.
All right.
And so, it's the weirdest shit ever. Just listen to this. You're gonna.
I read what it could be, but we'll listen first.
It could be bullshit. That's what it could be.
That sounds like all aboard.
Listen. This is hold on. Stop. This is a terrible version of it. Wow. There's a better version of it where you can hear the guys really clearly. The people talking. I don't know why that's so scratchy. But they're like, they're over by the lake. Like they're talking like that. And they hear this very strange sound.
And they're being calm about it.
Yeah. And these, supposed vocal experts are analyzing it. The human body is incapable of making such sounds. And that area of... You got it?
I don't know. It says HD. I don't
okay,
know
we'll hear
better.
it.
In for Nightville.
Yeah. They're knocking. That's another thing that Sasquatch do. They knock. That one's weird. Scoot ahead a little bit and hear the samurai sounds. Still sounds terrible. Anyway, these people believe that Les Stroud was balls deep in this.
Balls with that guy.
Deep. Apparently, he had an experience, and I talked to him about his experience. It's pretty interesting. He was in, not with that guy, but he was in Alaska, and apparently he heard some crazy noises, like some monkey sounds outside of in the middle of nowhere. No one was anywhere near, and he said he heard something run away, some bipedal sound of something running away. But again, even though he's an experienced woodsman and he's a guy who's, camped out countless nights in the middle of nowhere and survives in the middle of nowhere and documents it. Like, he's the reason why those survivor shows exist.
Yeah.
Because that guy literally would starve to death and try to eat, like, bark and whatever the fuck he could for 7. You could see his face, like, sinking in. He was losing weight. I mean, he really did do that. He did all sorts of different things to try to survive and then documented how he was doing it and what he would do. But he got obsessed with Bigfoot and then developed that Bigfoot show. And unfortunately, a lot of people lost a lot of faith in him because of that. They're like, no, you're the legit survivor guy, and now you're doing this show, and this is why it's ridiculous. There was one episode of the show where they had this guy who he was with who had video of a Sasquatch, like high-definition video, and it looks so fake.
Yeah.
It's like he's like the Sasquatch is looking at him through the woods, and he's like, there he is. And it's a guy with a mask on.
That's how he goes. He yells out, I'm a Sasquatch. You're like, oh, God, he just yelled that out.
Oh, yo. Makes the samurai noise. But this, the guy who had the video is known to be like full of shit. And here he's got this guy on a show, and then he... is this real? You be the judge. Like, yeah, I'm going to say it's not real. It's a guy with a fucking mask on.
I think I did that guy was very not respected.
Yes.
In that.
By the Bigfoot community.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot community. Again, very open-minded.
Yeah, very just everything.
Was other like they would see trees that would fall over like in certain patterns, and they were convinced that Sasquatch was leaning these trees against each other.
I thought it was to let you know where not to go.
Yeah. They had this. I mean, it's all theory, right? This idea
I think I've been following the wrong guy, dude. I believe stuff that you like's fake. I'm like, yeah. I only watched that Les Stroud one because of that other guy.
Well, I want to be real. That's the thing.
I do too.
If someone had a convincing Bigfoot encounter where they caught it on video, where I was like, "Holy shit, what is that? Like, what is that?" Or there was something, but there's nothing. Like I've talked to a lot of those people when I did this show called Joe Rogan Questions Everything for Sci-Fi, and me and Duncan Trussell actually went camping in the Pacific Northwest. We didn't really camp. We pretended to go camping, and then we went to a hotel.
Yeah.
And then we came back the next morning, like, well, rough night of camping. But we were out there for days trying to look for Sasquatch and talking to people that hunt for Sasquatch. And the one conclusion that we came to is it's a bunch of unfuckable white dudes. Like,
that's just out there.
Just out there camping. Yeah. It's just, but the desire for it to be real is so strong.
It would change. I watched, like that Finding Bigfoot show. I used to always think, because people are like, why is it on? I'm like, I don't know, man, because it's fun to watch. And if they find him, the world is different now. If they come back with Bigfoot, everything's different.
Everything's different.
Everything's getting different with the alien thing.
Yeah.
The fact that they're saying that's like true, you're like, that's a lot, dude. That's a lot to take. If we get, I know that they have the videos and stuff, the aliens, but like if we get up straight up start talking to one, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, here's something that came out today, Jamie. I'm going to send you this because Sagar and Jetty from Rising on the Hill and I have been going back and forth with this, and I found this today and sent it to him. It's I'll send it to you right now, Jamie. It says paradigm-shifting UFO tech that alters space-time is operable. U.S. Navy Chief Tech Officer. So it's some story that I didn't bother looking into because I saw it when I was on my way out the door, and I was like, what in the fuck is this? Because there's been all these sightings of these things that move in a weird way. Paradigm-shifting UFO tech. There's these things that move in this weird way that don't show any propulsion system. And, due to censorship, please join us on Telegram. I'm going to say, documents obtained by the Drive show the revolutionary technology that has capability to alter space-time may actually be operable, according to the Naval Aviation Enterprise Chief Technology Officer, Dr. James, how do you say that name? Sheehy? What do you think?
Operable in quotes. What is that?
I don't know. Good question. Reflect on why is technology that has the potential to change the entire human experience for the better always used for the defense purposes and military applications? What are the betterments? What about the betterment of humanity? Yeah. I don't know. But it's Christopher Mellon, who's that guy who keeps coming up with all this UFO tech stuff. Can you scroll back up, please?
Someone's just like writing. I was reading through Twitter. It's like a story. It's not really like an article.
Right. Twitter feed of Christopher Mellon, the former Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary for Intelligence from 1997 to 2002. Doing so, I came across an interesting post from the Drive regarding documents they received via the Freedom of Information Act regarding a space-time modification weapon developed by the U.S. Navy, which apparently has already gone through experimental testing. This, in turn, led me to evidence suggesting that other revolutionary type of technology that could no doubt be used to change the world for the better, blah, 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 was already operable. Yeah, I don't know. But this is what, if you pay attention to the UFO world, do you pay attention to that shit at all?
Not, like, actively.
There's a guy named Bob Lazar. And
I do know that because you talked to him.
Yeah. It was one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had. Because you're like, I mean, are you crazy? Are you full of shit? Or is this real?
Yeah.
Because if it is real, this thing is a special effect created, a guy who is a special effect artist. Do you remember his name, Jamie, who made this thing for us? This gentleman, he's got a designs by Perry at Instagram, and he created this thing, and this is like a scale model of what Bob Lazar supposedly worked on. He was hired by the United States military to work at Area S4, which is part of the Area 51, Site S4. Site 4 was this place where he allegedly worked to back engineer these spaceships. And the way these things moved around was exactly how this Christopher Mellon guy, or this article rather, that quoted him as describing, that they used some sort of gravity, space-time bending technology. So they didn't use a propulsion system like a rocket, shoot flame out the back. They bent time in front of them and just would shoot instantaneously to wherever the fuck they wanted to go.
So you'd be like instantly be able to go.
What's fucked is that there was an instance off of the coast of San Diego in 2004 where a Navy pilot by the name of Commander David Fravor, who I've also had on the show, experienced this thing that they call the Tic Tac UFO. They tracked it with radar. They tracked it with the camera systems on their plane, and they even have video footage of this thing. It went from 80,000 feet above sea level to 1 in a second.
Wow.
That's the amount of time that it takes radar to do the blip, 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 blip. So in that time, it traveled 80,000 feet. They have no idea how the fuck it did that. It shows no propulsion, heat signature. They took video footage of this thing, and it went from there. It took off where they couldn't even follow it with their eye, just disappeared to the predetermined destination where they were supposed to coordinate later. So it's like it's reading their tracking systems or reading where they were going. And the people that worked on the aircraft carrier were telling the fighter pilot, like, we've been seeing these things over, we see them like every couple weeks. We have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And they just say, well, there it is. What are we going to do about that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a picture of an alien in that Tic Tac. He's like, "Whoa, slow it down, dude. You're kind of crazy right now." Like he's having a bad day in there because he's got to be having just a day. Whoever's in there, some kind of day, maybe having a day. It's a lot to. Yeah, I don't know. You think it's like a lot to just tell people? Like if they had to be like to tell like just Earth, all of us humans on Earth, to like wrap our head around what would happen.
I think, what do you say if that's all you know? Like if you are the military. And all you know is that something can do these things. Something can move at this speed. The New York Times had a front page article about it a couple of years ago. And basically they're saying, hey, there are videos of things moving in a way that we don't understand, that aren't exhibiting a heat signature that indicates a propulsion system. And we don't know what it is. And then there's the COVID-19 bill that just got passed. And one of the provisions in the COVID-19 bill is that they have 180 days to release all the information they have about UFOs.
That's a lot, yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to do anything with. I think they're going to.
It's funny that it's in this.
They go, yeah, we don't have
COVID-19
anything.
bill.
Yeah,
like that's
a lot of weird shit was in the COVID-19 bill, like foreign aid. There's a lot of foreign aid to Pakistan, aid to all these countries. It's like people just to get it passed. They're like, okay, we'll say yes, but I want you to do a little favor for me and put this in the bill.
Yeah,
and there's just shows you how greasy politicians are.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but that's allegedly. What all that UFO technology is. What? Catch new episodes of the Joe Experience for free only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch between video and audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the JRE in the background while using other apps and can download episodes to save on data cost, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
If aliens are real, I'm not 100% convinced. I'm probably like 90% convinced. But if they are real, I leave in the room for bullshit. It's like... Jamie, get a picture of your shirt. Show everybody the shirt you're wearing while we're talking about that. It's a UFO. It says, can they see it? Believe that. That's the shirt. Exactly.
That's a saucer, if I've ever seen one.
I think if they're here, they're not going to let us. That's what I think.
Well, that's what...
I think they're going to swoop in and go, hey.
Well, that's...
Fuck.
I'm 25, right? I can't speak on anything. But just looking from past experience... And, there's, like, drawings. Like, right. Even in the Mona Lisa, there's a weird thing or whatever in the background and shit. Saucer. But there's a spike. Mm-hmm. It's a spike in, like, because it's getting pretty weird here.
The spike, they think, it's hard to tell because sometimes when people talk about UFOs, a bunch of other people hallucinate or lie. Like, there's a lot of that.
Right.
So every time there's a real legit UFO, you get a bunch of nutcases who just want to tell crazy shit about being taken
and
aboard
I see,
ships.
You've
seen UFO?
Never, yeah.
What'd you see? What'd it look like?
I was probably 16. I was in upstate New York, and it would just stay there. So let me precursor this. My aunt and uncle were very strict, and we had to go to bed at a very strict deadline, probably 10 p.m. And I was looking out the window with my cousin, and it's just a light that just stays there and then just fucking goes off. I mean, it just, whew, you can't explain it.
Well, You're 17 at the time? 16? How
Probably.
how strong is this memory when you're like looking at it, when you're trying to remember it?
Immediate.
Yeah.
But
For
there's
sure.
something there.
For something took off and did something that didn't make sense to you?
And then in Utah, I mean, there's shit happens all the time. I mean, even here in LA, I can't tell you how many times, because I used to live in Tarzana. So there was like a balcony here, and it looked kind of like, it sounds corny, but like a classic like force field. Whenever you think of a force field, and it just kind of goes like this, and it's kind of like a dome in a circular shape. And it just goes like this and goes back in.
Whoa.
In Tarzana. Look down at the fucking city. And I'm like, how did no one else see this?
They might.
But I was there with like fucking 4 other people, and they saw it too.
The thing about unique events is if a unique event happens and it never happens again, it's hard to remember. It's hard to be sure what you saw. It's hard. But if aliens are visiting us, like how often are they doing it? Like unique events would probably be what it would be.
Right.
It'd be like occasionally,
Right.
once every 6 months, someone sees one somewhere. But they're here all the time. They probably just know how to evade detection. I mean, it just, if something can travel here from another planet, it's going to be able to know when they're being watched and when they're not being watched. That's not going to be hard.
That's why you gotta wonder if it's like intentional.
I think there's enough talk about it now that we're probably going to find out what it is in our lifetime. I never would think that before. I think the government withheld information for whatever reason. Maybe they think people are scared. Maybe they think it's a threat to the national security, to have a bunch of people worried that aliens are flying around us all the time. There's nothing we can do about it. Maybe they like had a conversation and they thought maybe it'd be better to keep people in the quiet or keep them in the dark so that they don't freak out, because there's nothing we can do about it anyway. If we just tell them that there's aliens that are visiting us all the time, that's not going to be good. They're not going to pay attention to taxes and mortgage rates and the stock market. They're going to be
care
like, holy
about
fuck.
uranium and
there's
shit.
aliens. They're around us all the time.
Yeah.
They're going to be, people are going to freak out. So I think like little drops of like this, the recent one they said, where they
what did the Pentagon just say?
Yeah,
literally like
they
2
said
fucking days ago.
They covered crafts that are not from this world, not made on Earth.
Not made on Earth.
Yeah, not made on Earth.
Yeah.
They're basically saying we don't know what the fuck it is, but we didn't make it. That's bananas. And I think that's going to lead to more and more information coming out about it, where we're going to try to get a sense of understanding, like how long have they known this? You know, how much of like all that Roswell, New Mexico shit was true? Like tell us what was going on.
And backtracking, you got to wonder if like, oh, we've been hiding this the whole time, or this is the first time for real that we don't know.
This is what I like. I like to think that the people that are in charge at the Pentagon are patriots, and they realize it's probably better, especially when you're dealing with the United States. It's in this kind of turmoil that they're in right now. It's crazy, between racial turmoil and turmoil with the police and turmoil with people protesting in cities and blocking traffic. There's so much crazy turmoil. They'd be like, no one's even going to notice now. Just say it now. Just say, yeah, we got UFOs. Like, everything is so crazy. The news cycle of any crazy story like this is only a few days, and then people forget.
Well, or it's just people already know, and it's just normalization. And you think about movies as just normalizing you to the idea that I can't even, like the Canadian, don't quote me on this, but a Canadian, someone in office was like, there's like 7 species of aliens in the U.S. government.
It would be crazy if it was true.
That's,
Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
Do y'all
were
remember
right
that?
all along?
Yeah, check that out. Please fact check that for me.
Is he a loony person, though?
I have no idea.
See, people can get elected and still be crazy. That's a problem.
For certain.
That's a problem. Just because, like, when you hear about someone having, like, a really high-profile job and they say something crazy, it doesn't mean they're not crazy. Just because they're the prime minister of some fucking country, they could be out of their mind.
What do we got? Something close to that. How close? Where is
Canada's
that?
former defense minister claims that aliens are real. Apparently, there's a humanoid-esque race of aliens called the Tall Whites living among us. Huh. It's Adam Curry.
What publication is
It's Adam
this?
Curry.
Is this Vice?
Adam
There's on
Curry's
Vice,
alien.
there's a few other places.
Well,
There's a few.
he
So
did-
it's like a real deal.
definitely seems like
Come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy shit. The thing is that guy nuts? Like, what else does he believe in? You know, how does he feel about ghosts? Right? When you think about like an alien sighting, like if you saw an alien and then you never saw one again for the rest of your life,
Right.
it would fuck with your memory, even if the alien was real. If a saucer
Right.
emerged in front of you and then took off, that's the same thing with a ghost. Like if you saw a fucking ghost, if you walked into your basement to go get a screw for something, and you turned
Right.
and you saw an apparition of a woman
Right.
who's like staring you down. Did
Right.
you ever see that Guillermo del Toro movie about the lady who's a ghost who adopts kids?
No.
Dude, it's a dark movie. What is it called? Mother? What is it called? It's fucking creepy.
Is it?
It's
Do
creepy.
you like horror movies?
I love them.
Me too.
I love
I'm a
them.
dirty little bitch. I love horror movies.
I think it's called Mama.
Mama, yes, that's it.
Oh,
It's-
is that?
Bro, it's so
that's not
creepy.
with two Swedish kids, right?
I don't.
Does she
remember-
have two?
This is it. This
two
is it.
sons?
Did you see this?
No.
She has two kids.
No, I haven't seen that.
She's well, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give this away, but it's crazy. She finds these kids in the woods and raises them. She's a ghost, and it's a
Sure.
fucking terrifying movie.
She's a ghost. Wait,
yes. And so
is that a
people
spoiler?
adopt the kids. They find the kids. I can't tell you anymore. I can't tell you
Spoiler
anymore.
alert.
I can't tell you anymore. No, you know she's a ghost from the very beginning of the movie.
Okay, good. Yeah, this
I
is
can't-
terrifying.
Dude, it's fucking horrifying. It's a terrifying movie.
Well, you get the best of both, right? You get a creepy like mom style, and then you get
Yes.
creepy kids, which
You
are
get
like
both. You get a
double
kid.
terrifying.
What
movie
I
I'm
can't say
thinking
anymore
of?
without spoiler alert in it.
There's I think it might be called. So it's two kids. It might be Swedish or like Norwegian or something.
Is it the
And-
vampire movie?
No,
There's
but
there's a vampire movie, a foreign vampire movie. Is it Let the One In? I think it is, or is that the American version of it?
Let the Right One In is a scary movie.
That's a scary movie, right?
Yeah.
That's a vampire movie about vampire kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the thing about a ghost is if you saw one and if they're just real every now and then, you saw one and it was right in front of you, you're in the woods,
Right.
you're going to walk your dog and you see some old man with no legs floating in front of you.
That's the one.
Good Night Mommy is
Yeah.
Oh, good night, mommy. What's this one about?
same. I don't know.
Same kind of deal? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Save that for later.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Some scary lady in the corner.
that motherfucker out. That's
Okay.
a good one.
I'm scared.
But you see him in the woods,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, if you saw some apparition in the woods and then you never saw it again for the rest of your life, it doesn't mean it wasn't real.
Right.
It just means it's really rare that happens. Like, that's a thing about a unique event. Like, imagine if you're an ant your whole fucking life.
Right.
All you've ever known is this anthill. Everybody's chilling, working every day, chopping up leaves, going out and getting popcorn or whatever shit it finds. And then one day, some comes along like Post and just stomps the fuck out of that anthill.
Sure.
Till that moment, all that thing has ever known was that anthill. Never even knew that it was possible for something to, because it's been alive for a couple of weeks. And during that couple of weeks, no one's ever stomped on the anthill. But then it happens. And then you realize that there's no pattern to these things. Anything can happen. Like if you're a person, aliens can land. They
Yeah.
can land on the White House lawn
Yeah.
tomorrow and take over the world. And there's nothing we can do about it. Like that could be our new normal. Okay, fuck masks. The new normal is there's alien spaceships that hover over every city and they tell you what to do. And you have to work for them now. Forever.
To the ant argument, we're smarter than ants.
Yes, we are. We're, in comparison, probably dumber than aliens are. Like, we're
Oh,
dumber
most-
than ants are to people.
Well, you like all
That's a
these
guess.
celestial sightings. Yeah, I mean, this is all spitballing here. But celestial sightings documented throughout history.
Throughout history.
Hey, I just made a fire. This is dope, right? Fire's cool. But what the fuck is that? That has to be
Yeah.
God. Like, Man has always looked up for answers.
It's true.
And so that's why it's a scary thing. Because do they want to hurt us, or did we come from them?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's impossible that we're a product of genetic manipulation. I don't know if we are. I know we're definitely primates.
We're just
so different than every other monkey. All the other monkeys are covered in hair. This is this weird semi-hairless monkey. You know, who knows how to use electronics? Who knows how to send video through the sky?
You know the Aki?
Yes.
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 If Lou was here, I got a great friend, Lou. Shout out to Lou. He would talk your ear off about this whole deal.
Up to an actual archaeologist yesterday.
Or the Nephilim.
Bradley Garrett. Yeah, the Nephilim or the Anunnaki from planet Nibiru, all that Zachariah Sitchin stuff. You ever read those books?
No, sir.
The books are weird, man. You know what's weird? Like, there's stuff that he was saying in, like, I believe it was like the 1970s, where he was deciphering these texts. And one of the things that he said is, this is the craziest one of all. Humans were genetically engineered from lower primates, and they were used to harvest gold, and that the Anunnaki needed gold because gold is very plentiful here,
right,
and very hard to find, very rare on their planet,
right.
And they engineered humans to mine. That's why people love gold so much,
right.
If you think about like the usefulness of gold,
right,
gold isn't even remotely. It's unless you're making electronics, like. Gold's not the best metal. Like, why is it so valuable? Because it's pretty? Well, it's not even the prettiest shit. Like, rubies are prettier than gold. Emeralds are prettier than gold. Why is gold so goddamn expensive?
But where does diamonds fit in?
Question. Probably just someone tricked a chick into thinking it was good.
I was reading about, like... yeah, that's what... It's like one movie, she had a diamond, and then... popped off.
Let me finish the one because this is where it gets weird. They said that they needed it to hang in their atmosphere to protect them from the sun because they were losing their atmosphere. Well, we're losing our atmosphere. And one of the things that scientists have suggested is hanging reflective particles above the Earth, like putting them in orbit. All like a reflective dust in orbit so that it would mute out some of the effects of the sun. So what they suggested, what he was saying in 1978 is what they suggested in like 2018.
Right.
So when they're talking about how to fix some of the global warming issues, they were literally saying some of the stuff that was in this book that he was reading. He's deciphering these ancient Sumerian texts from 6,000 years ago.
No shit.
I don't know.
I was about to ask.
His interpretation. He is just a guy who's a linguist who studies these ancient languages and reinterprets them, but it's very highly in dispute. That's the problem. Like you or I, we're not going to figure it out. We're not going to know who's right. It's too complicated.
Right.
But there's a website called sitchiniswrong.com, and if you go there, it refutes all of his. I don't know who's right or who's wrong, but it's interesting to see the argument. But again, whatever the fuck was going on back then, 6,000 years ago, whatever was going on, they were writing about some wacky shit.
Right. You
know, they were.
And is the shrooms or is that?
Is it contact?
Yeah.
It's not impossible. We could have easily been contacted by some other life form that's similar to us, but that's a million years advanced. We could have been contacted all throughout history.
Right.
Yeah. 60, whatever the fuck it was, all you would have is a drawing and a story. Imagine that.
Famous people. Who the fuck knows? But now, if you look at the last 200 years, it has accelerated like a motherfucker. And there's so much, like, 200 years ago, people would look at the Bronco or anything like that and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what is that?
It happened so quick.
It's so quick right now. I mean, that SpaceX thing, they've already figured out how to get something to fly into the sky and then bring it back and land it. Yeah. We're in a weird fucking time. And if the aliens come right now, it's probably the best time to come. We're going to be the most relaxed about it. No one's been able to work for 6 months.
I feel like everybody's,
people are scared to shake hands.
What are you going to do?
Everyone's terrified.
Are you going to high? Or are you
to the aliens?
Are you going to grab your bow?
Oh, high for sure. I'm not stupid. could come here from. I'm not kicking
instant
anybody's
disintegration.
ass. Yeah, I'm not even interested in kicking someone's ass from another dimension. I just want to say hi. Tell me what's up.
Tell me it's actually
I want
good.
to have an podcast. Can you imagine?
I call
Imagine have
Tyler
some
up.
3 foot tall, 40-pound dude with a giant bulbous head and like antenna-like fingers, and he's explaining how they traverse space
No
and time
shit.
instantaneously.
No.
Can you imagine? They're making sounds, and you interpret those sounds no matter what language you're in all over the world. You instantaneously interpret
Well,
what
it'd be
they're
through
saying.
your brain. You wouldn't be able to hear them.
Yeah, they would do it through a podcast. They'd be sounds they make.
They
And
would
we'd have
do
to
it
realize,
through-
what is this sound, and
through
why understand what he's saying?
SM-78s.
They would hit you with some sound that's so complex you would understand exactly what they're saying,
Yeah.
even though you don't know the language. And everybody would be like, "What in the fuck is going on?" Oh my God, there's an alien on the JRE, and that's what it would be. Me talking to some alien.
They better give you some more god money.
I think that's the least of our problems when the aliens come. That shit is going to be wiped
Well,
off.
that's need gold.
Yeah, we're gold miners again, folks. We're going to look for some sturdy person with a wide back. That's what's going to be
look
valuable.
good.
Thank you. But I mean, good enough to mine gold? I don't know. You imagine if that's life in the future? They come down, they go, you got 2 choices. Eat 1, we eat you. 2, you mine gold for us.
Are they?
Why wouldn't they eat us? They'd be like, listen, you guys are just protein. You're assholes.
They eat clouds
Yeah.
or like energy. They probably just eat energy.
Yeah, maybe they exist in some sort of like a
Dude, they're probably not
redundant
even fucking material.
Probably.
They're probably just fucking ethereal.
Well, maybe they figured out a way to make life. So maybe they figured out a way how to make life where you can transfer your consciousness in some eternal mechanical thing. Damn,
have you been-
Seattle.
You must be. I mean, because you're here, right? You feel tremors. They happen all the time, right? I've only had a few times when I
not
felt
all
tremors.
the time. I've felt them before. The biggest ones I ever felt was when I first moved here. I first moved here in '94, and it was right after the Northridge earthquake.
Yeah.
And I was in my house, and I felt, I guess it was like a 5.5, where the whole thing. It was weird. But it gave me the impression that the house that I was living in, or the apartment that I was in, was made out of the same stuff. Like a box that a refrigerator would come in. You
Yeah.
know how like, you kind of move it around?
Yeah, you can go
That's
and
what it's
play
like.
inside. Yeah.
The whole thing was just moving like easily left and right. I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Well, that was I've only had times that I've felt on. I'm like, it's at first I thought it was a truck. I thought a truck was rolling by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and somebody's like, no, man, that was an earthquake.
And the one that I experienced was nothing. I mean, it's a baby one. The ones that they're getting, right now somewhere in the world. I mean, there's always something that's like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah. So this goes back to the point about the, a lot of planets, right, will be like way more plate tectonically active.
Volatile.
Yeah, than ours. So, I think good planets are going to be like really hard to find.
Yeah.
So, that may be the solution. The other solution is, the way you guys found out about it was I did that article about the previous civilization. How do you know whether or not there was a previous civilization on Earth? And, one solution could be that, look, they were here. That somebody did arrive and spent some time on Earth. But if it was like 500 million years ago, and they only lasted, right? Every civilization has a finite lifetime. They only lasted for, even a few 100,000 years. They wouldn't leave. There'd be no record left.
There would be nothing left.
There'd be nothing left.
Do you think possible that something's ever visited here? And because that is the big question, and that's the thing that gets the UFO dorks more jazzed up than anything is the possibility that we've been visited.
Yeah, I'm definitely not UFOs. I have 2 arguments against UFOs. One is as a friend of mine, Jason Wright, says, is like, look, as astronomers, man, we're finding all those asteroids. We're finding little chunks of rock moving. Nobody looks at the sky harder than we do, right? And if anything, unless you want to go to the conspiracy theories, we would have found something. My other argument is like, what's with the headlights? You know what I mean? People are always like, oh man, I saw lights in the sky, and then they moved around, and then they disappeared. But they don't really want to be seen. I'm like, well, why do they have headlights on? Like, why just turn off the freaking lights?
Why would they have?
It's like what you came from another civilization and you can't get around without your high beams.
What the fuck are you seeing with those lights?
Right.
You're not seeing shit.
Yeah, right.
When was the last time you saw? I mean, planes have lights so other planes don't run into them. They don't have lights so they can see where they're going.
Yeah, so what? So they have, right, exactly.
Yeah.
The planes have lights so other people can see them. So if they're
That's
here,
it,
they're
yeah.
mysterious. They don't want to be found. Then turn off the freaking lights. So,
Well, they wouldn't need lights.
Right.
Yeah, they always have lights.
Yeah,
That is
that's
true.
it. People are always,
Yeah.
oh man, I saw lights in the sky, and then they move back and forth, and so
Well,
I
this
just
is
think
also
like,
prop human memory. Memory is
Right.
horrible.
Yeah.
And memory of events that are stunning or shocking
Yeah.
or unnerving, or you think you saw something.
right? They've done all research even in trials, right, where
Yeah.
people see things going. So
Dude,
I just UFOs, I'm just kind of like.
But do you think it's possible that there could be life on other planets, and it's possible that there could be intelligent life on other planets, and we send probes to Mars? Why wouldn't? And I think that if they do send something here, they're going to send something without biological life inside of it.
Yeah, what's a really interesting question is like, we're talking about like what will we evolve into in a million years? It may be possible that biology is a short period of intelligence.
Yes.
That, like, you build machines, and the machines become you
AI
build yourself into them. I mean, that's a real possibility. That silicon makes a lot more sense than wetware.
Well, they probably think of artificial intelligence as artificial.
Right.
It's definitely real.
Right. Yeah. No,
I mean,
that's
it's-
exactly
it's
it.
It's not fake. It's
Right.
right there.
Right.
It's like there's artificial milk. You know what I mean? But it's a liquid. It's an actual liquid.
Yeah.
There's not an artificial life. It's
Right.
just silicon created life.
And that's again the idea that this may be what the biosphere solution to spreading itself,
Right.
to getting it. Maybe that silicon that's a kind of a normal phase. I mean, I am super skeptical about like the whole transhuman thing about we're going to download ourselves into intelligence, into computers.
Have you ever gone to one of those conventions and talked
no,
to those dorks?
No, there's some serious dorking going on there.
Well, there's geniuses in those dorks too. It's
Right.
really interesting. It's like they're fully, wholly committed to this prospect of downloading themselves. Have you talked to Kurzweil before?
No, but I've read his stuff.
I
yeah.
had a chance to interview him a few years back for sci-fi.
He's super smart. That
He's
dude is like
beyond
super smart.
But
yeah.
goddamn, is he committed to it? And then when you get to it, you realize that what he actually wants to do is recreate his father. Yeah, his father died when he was young, and he wants to be able to, through memories and photographs and what he knows about his father, literally recreate his father
Won't
and,
be his
and
father.
be able to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
He was talking about this.
Right.
But what he's doing is he's going way, way into the future, into the possibilities of. He's not seeing 5 years from now we're going to be able to send gigabyte pictures through the mail. No, he's saying let's think of if you keep going exponentially and electronics
Right.
and technology and innovation keeps continually accelerating, we could potentially get to the point where it's the impossible. Well, you would be able to recreate human beings based on your knowledge of them, and they'll be able to come up with some sort of a program. Well, he'll be able to have a conversation with his father.
Yeah, see, I think I think it's it's true about like the possibility of a singularity in technological development, but it's not going to be his father. That's the sad
Right.
thing. You know, I think we seriously, I've done some work on this as an interest of mine about mind. What is mind? And what's the relationship between mind and matter? And I think we have like a serious misunderstanding. We don't understand consciousness very well at all. So the idea that it's just going to be trivial to download your consciousness into a computer, I think it's pretty, there's like a shitload of assumptions in there about like what mind is and the relationship between like your neurons and, awareness.
Yeah.
So that's why I think those guys, it's a little bit of a religion. You know what I mean?
It is a little bit of a
We
religion.
will transcend and, so it's like.
Well, 45 is the new benchmark for whatever reason. That's the new number.
They're going to keep pushing
going
it back.
for.
It's going to be like every
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
every other. We thought it was 2045. We really meant 2065.
Well, we
So
went
it's
to 2045 conference, me and my friend Ari and Duncan, and we got to talk to some of these guys, and it was really fascinating. And one of them had created some robot that was supposed to be him, but it didn't work well, so they never revealed it at the conference. It had too many bugs in it.
Yeah.
But it's intriguing. It's like I want them to keep going. Because, I mean, when are we going to get to Ex Machina? I mean,
Yeah.
when are we going to get
talk about good art. So
Loved
just
it.
like simple. He's not
Perfect.
beating you over the head with it. It's
no
just
cut
like,
moments in that movie.
Yeah, no. I
You were
thought
like,
that was,
whoa.
I know.
The entire. I think that's one of my all-time top 20 movies.
When
for
she
sure.
sees him just emotionless, just like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm putting the blade in.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, he
Spoiler
was-
alert.
Yeah, right. Did you like Annihilation?
Yes.
I liked it.
I didn't like it as much, but
No.
I liked it. It was very weird. And
Yeah.
the ending seemed like some producers put their jizz in the soup. It's just like,
Back to
how
panspermia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's happening here? Who made this part?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, and the danger with anything when it comes to AI and so here's an interesting thing about AI. Like we are making amazing strides with AI.
Yeah.
Now artificial intelligence is different from artificial consciousness. You know what I mean? So like, but the AI that, what we're getting out of it is nothing like us, right? So back in the where people were like, oh, we're going to like model the human brain and that's how we'll do it. We'll like make programs that are what they've learned is like, oh, that doesn't really work that well. So now this is the whole big data thing. Like, network theory and big data and deep learning, where like, they're using statistical, the power of having huge amounts of computing and statistical reasoning so that like, the computer, like, it'll find the picture of the cat, but you have no idea why it found the picture. It didn't reason like, oh yeah, that sort of looks like cat and I like cats. It was just like, oh, these kinds of lines go with that kind of thing. It has no idea what it's doing, but it'll act intelligently. And so that's, I mean, that's kind of freaky deaky in a lot of ways too. I think I think it's smart to think about the dangers of AI, not necessarily when it takes over.
Dangers to us.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the dangers. Just the dangers to this thing that we are, this weird monkey thing.
Yeah.
That wants to keep being a monkey thing.
Yeah. Well, you mean in the that it's going to replace us?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's inevitable. I mean, don't you think that if you go back and interview the single-celled organism before it branched off into multi-celled,
that'd be kind of a boring interview.
Fuck this multi-celled bullshit. I don't single cell at the bottom of the ocean.
These guys are animals, man, with their rock and roll music.
They're going to make cars? Fuck that. I don't want a car, man. I like staying down here.
Yeah.
Like there's a real thought to that we are the wetware that is the problem.
Yeah. No. I think it's fully conceivable. Like, I'm not going to be like, it'll never happen. But as a guy I know who's a philosopher says, there's a certain way in which everything we do with AI right now, it's not like, Watson is playing chess. It's like using Watson to play chess. It's our tool, and I think the fear is the tool gets out of hand. Not that it like develops a thing where like, I hate humans, Dad, I hate you. But more that it's like, these things which are not actually thinking, they act intelligently, but they're not thinking, can have a huge, like, it'll have a really negative impact. It'll what is it? There's that example of like if you design something that is an AI system to make paper clips, it ends up consuming the entire planet making paper clips because that's what you told it to do.
Right. You never told like a sustainable amount of paper clips.
Right. Exactly. So I'm more worried about that than I am of like Skynet, coming over and like, deciding that it's going to, drop all the bombs on us because it needs to get rid of us.
Well,
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Well, soon we're going to have war in space, Rory. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news. Some
because of Elon
Air
Musk.
Force guy was saying that we have to prepare for the possibility of war in space. That this is inevitable possibility, probably with drones.
Well, let me ask you this: what was your take on that UFO thing?
What is this,
So space. This was a UK ad for a beer. It's all these nuts in space. Looks
They're in space drinking beer?
It's like Armageddon.
Wait, there's British astronauts? Yeah. I had no idea.
Belong beer.
Wow.
Belong beer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. British astronauts. Remember that UFO thing that happened like 2 months ago?
Which one?
And they released, like the government was like, we have no idea what this object is. And you heard the pilot in the air like, what the fuck is that? Da, da, da.
I don't feel like I've seen
like
that.
came across that.
Remember, like they're like the UFOs. It happened right after Tom DeLonge was on here.
Oh,
like,
did we watch it? Did we watch the
and
video?
And like the government literally confirmed that what it is, and it's a UFO, and it's doing things in the, and then everyone just stopped talking about it.
Wait a minute.
But that could be.
I don't believe these things enough. I barely pay attention. They come my way, and
this
I
was
shut them
on
off.
like real sites,
right? But what is the video? Can we see the video again?
There it is.
Let me see it again. Oh, see, stop. Hold on. This is now. I remember. This has been debunked. You know who debunked it? What's his face? Mick West. Mick West from Metabunk.com. What they did was they changed the perspective from 1x to 2x. So when you're looking at something zoomed in, things move faster. Your sight picture is much quicker. When you're at normal, your sight picture is slower. So like as you zoom in, everything looks faster. Yeah. So when the thing moved out of frame so fast, it was because it had been zoomed in on, not because it took off at some insane rate of speed.
In other words, the pilot was just fucking with the government?
No, they didn't know any better. When whoever released the video didn't look at it. These Metabunk guys looked at the video, and you can see all the numbers on the screen.
Right.
When you look at the video, you see like what his perspective
That's
is:
so
X1,
funny.
X2, and he points out that look here, it goes to X2, and then it just moves out of frame. It's not even that it
Yeah,
took
'cause
off.
you're snapping in on it.
You're looking at it from a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at it from a zoomed-in perspective.
That's interesting.
Yeah, see if you can find
Oh,
it.
that's so
Mick
disappointing.
West.
I found his written
It's got a bunch of
explanation
pictures.
it.
My dream was that we were aliens, and their goal was they needed plastic.
He's got a bunch of photos in it. See if you can find the photos. He points them out.
That's what I was hoping. And they were going to go like, our planet needs plastic. Do you have any? We'd be like, we have like
Dude, we
so
got
much.
tons.
Yeah,
Shit
in the
tons.
ocean, you can just take
Yeah.
it all. And then they just cleaned it all up, and things got better. Like they went to the Pacific garbage patch and just were like, and then they left. Yeah, Pacific garbage patch keeps me up
There's
at night.
a kid who's got a solution to that. Like
What
a
is it?
young man who figured out a solution. God damn it! I'm supposed to be in contact with that fellow.
Now I'd be curious
too
to know
many
what that
emails.
solution is.
Some sort of a machine that like skims the ocean for plastic, and it collects all the plastic.
Huh.
Yeah, and I don't know what it's powered by. I want to say it's powered. It's a solar powered thing. That was the concept behind it.
Like a Roomba?
Dutch students' giant ocean cleanup machine is going into production.
Wow.
Inventor says the technology will solve the marine plastic crisis, but some scientists are skeptical, as they should be. They're science. Boy on slot.
Look at how much it's growing.
That's right. I was connecting them through
How much it's
email.
growing by?
Let me write it down.
8 million tons a year.
That's
nuts.
insane. How do you spell his last name?
SLAT.
Plastic is growing.
Yeah,
by
well,
8 million.
we
tons
never
a year.
thought about. We thought once we throw it away, oh, it's thrown away. They've got it. No, shit fall off. There's fucking dumps. They leave it sitting there.
Yeah,
Birds
it's-
fly to the dump. They pick it up. They fly away with it. They don't know what it is.
The crazy is how like the ocean currents all lead to one place.
Weird, right?
It's so weird.
It's weird that you could see it all swirling.
Yeah, and
together.
it's like the size of Texas. I think they said.
And they say it breaks down all of that particles, or all the rather plastic, into these weird little particles.
Yeah, and that's why they're fish out with stomachs full of plastic.
You fish out with it, and more birds. Birds are dying, and they're feeding it to their kids, and they find babies in the nest that have these plastic caps filled in their sack. It's really horrible.
Horrible.
Have you seen that?
There's the balloon.
To the
It's a
stars.
Party balloon. That's what they saw.
Dum-dum. Oh yeah. Is that really what they saw?
That's what this says.
Stop
It's on his
it.
website. This is Mick West's pictures.
Well, it might be that.
You're saying they were tracking a party balloon in an F-16?
Is that what it's supposed to be saying?
Yeah,
That
the
it was in an
explanation I had
F-16?
on the other website said that exactly what you were describing as I was reading it. Like the camera angles were off, and you can follow the angle with the clouds moving
Right.
with the balloon.
Well, if you zoom in on something, that's what happens. I mean, if you've ever looked through a binocular, if you're trying to hold a binocular, the more powerful the binoculars are, the more like the picture at the end seems shaky.
Yeah, it's same as
'Cause you're
you
also
zoom in on
zoomed
your
in
phone. If we take a picture, same thing. It's not
Right.
an optical zoom; it's a digital zoom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the explanation for the bizarre behavior of that object. Apparently, it
That
was
is
just
so funny to me that it was a party balloon.
What's that, Jamie?
There's another one too that was like this was the day before he posted, which a second video similarly. I don't know if this was the one that everyone was talking
Dude,
about.
nobody wants UFOs to be real than me.
That's why I was asking you about it.
Nobody. But I'm also I don't buy a lot of the thinking that goes behind these things, because people just want to think that it's real. They want to think it's real so bad that they're not looking at it completely objectively. If it is real, we got to know for sure, and there's no way you know for sure this way. This just doesn't seem like we know for sure. This seems more like what he's saying is correct. If you see the perspective shift, and you see the way the moves shift.
But this is what we were talking about earlier about like the government and conspiracy. Like that's a perfect example. The government's like, we have no idea what this is, and we're confirming it was a UFO. And then guys who aren't in the government are like, yeah, it's a fucking balloon, dude.
Jamie, scroll back down. What does it say there? This little animation. It says the flare around the much closer engines rotate independently of the rotation of the plane. What does that mean? I'm not sure I get this. I think we're halfway in the middle of this page.
Yeah.
Of the problem. They're explaining something in a
'Cause
long,
it's infrared.
drawn out. Yeah. See, there's a lot to be horseshit, and people see the video footage and they think, "Oh my God, it's a UFO." Oh no, it turns out it's a oil thing that's on fire in the distance. Like, there's a lot of weird things that you see in these like real blurry infrared scans or whatever that is, night vision scans.
Yeah.
I want to see some real shit where you look at it and you go, okay,
Yeah, definitive
that's a
proof.
fucking UFO.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
But
Is that real? And if someone says that there's no way they're going to fake that, then I'm curious. But right now, I just think too many people want it to be real.
Yeah, but for
so
the Pentagon sat on that for like 10 years and then released it, and no one in the Pentagon figured it out until like it got out into the private sector online, and something's like, yeah, it's a balloon, and you zoomed in on it, you fucking idiots. Look, it says 2x. That's my point about government conspiracies. I'm like, yeah, it just seems like incompetence to me.
It could be.
Like, nobody looked at closer.
But
they were
that's
like, it's a
just the
UFO
people-
we've known for 10 years.
But that's just the people that were responsible for that were incompetent.
Sure.
I mean, do you think that you would give the fucking UFO searching job to anyone you wanted to do real shit? The UFO searching job is a job
That's
you
fair.
give to your friend's cousin.
That's fair.
You get him a job at the
That's
CIA.
fair.
Like,
That's
listen,
fair.
bro.
Yeah, they're like,
you are
yeah.
going to be involved in a top secret operation. Huh? What do we got?
Wachowski, get in here. We got a job for you.
are going to be searching for UFOs. What do you know? What do you
Jeepers
know?
creepers, boss.
Well, we're going to rely on you. You've been carefully selected.
Remember
And they said
spies-
this
remember spies like
fucking
us?
stupid to interview people in their farms and shit that are all high on moonshine and crystal meth.
No,
and
I saw it. I saw it. It was lit up like a goddamn candle.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Eddie said he was a CIA.
It was before Eddie was deep into conspiracies. Back then, it was like he was like into UFOs and shit. It was barely into conspiracies. He's way off the deep end.
So
now.
you got into UFOs, man. That guy,
The bubbles are.
goddamn. Like, well, maybe it is true.
I'm scheduled to have a phone call this afternoon with George Knapp. He wants to brief me on all this shit. George Knapp is the guy that broke the Bob Lazar story in the 1990s.
Yeah.
And, he shares my opinion. He's like, most of this is bullshit. Most of these people are liars. Most of these people are crazy.
Right.
But there's some real shit out there, too. Like a lot of these Air Force pilots, they have eyes on this fucking thing that's going 600 miles away in a second, like dropping down from 60,000 feet to 10 feet, like in a second.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. We don't know what the fuck this is. We have no idea how these things are doing this.
Right. And that's some hillbilly, like, just
No.
talking about Sasquatch.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's air pilots.
Yeah.
People who they're trained to fly jets and have gunfights in the fucking sky.
Right.
These are exceptional human beings.
Yeah.
When they see things like that, you got to go, they know what the fuck they're seeing.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Every day, you could go out there and look in the sky and you don't see shit. You go, there's nothing up there because you're not seeing it. But if you go to a fucking lake, you're never going to see a shark. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it doesn't mean sharks aren't real.
Right.
It's like you're looking in the wrong spot or you aren't there when they show up. But they're real. So we have enough accumulated data to know that, there are sharks. They are real, but they're not in lakes. They're in the ocean. Here's where they are. This is how you find them. Go to South Africa. Oh, look, there's a shark.
Yeah, let's go to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or fucking Catalina. Off of Catalina, there's a shit ton of them.
I worked at Boy Scout camp in Catalina, and I was teaching snorkeling. And that was like, the whole time I was shitting myself.
Oh, my God.
It's the nicest water in the world, though. It's so warm and salty. It's
Yeah.
You just float,
We did fear out there a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, we did a couple of stunts.
Nice.
A couple of water stunts.
It's a cool. We stayed on the other side, like there's the hotels on the one side and everything. We were on the other side, the campsites. It was awesome. I was like 13 and I got so roasted, my entire body became one blister.
Oh no!
Stupid. I was stupid.
No sunscreen.
None. Out there all day long. Yeah.
So I don't know if UFOs are real, but it's certainly believable enough. It's not like the sky's empty. It's filled with stars.
So do you now, after speaking with them, do you think we've had contact like that?
It's hell.
Yeah,
because
but
they could have
you
been
for
lying.
your own opinion, not for listeners, not for anybody else. Just you when you're at home and you're chilling. Do you think it?
Oh no, I really honestly don't know. I couldn't say yes or no. I'm more inclined now to think there's something going on than I was before I met Lazar and watched that documentary. Because I was on the, not that I was saying that aliens are not real. I think there's 100% life out there.
For sure.
Let's just say that.
It's too big.
Right. It just doesn't make any sense that there isn't.
Right.
It's the question of whether, the weird question. And it's also, the problem is that you feel foolish talking about it because so many people who believe in it are foolish. And so many people who tell stories, their stories are foolish. So you feel foolish kind of going along with it.
Right.
But I'm very careful about stuff like that because I'm like, just because something makes you feel foolish doesn't mean it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, or doesn't mean it
it's
isn't
wrong.
true.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there's a very high likelihood that there's life out there. And it's entirely possible that something's gotten here before. But as to whether or not something really has made contact with people, I don't know. If I would say, like, where's my scale, it's like probably 65% believe.
Yeah.
35% going,
Especially after talking to that guy.
Yeah. But what he could have experienced something that was an experimental aircraft that they didn't want to tell him.
Right.
You never know, man. I mean, I just don't know what the tech. Look, I'm a moron. Like, I don't understand physics at all. I have no knowledge of propulsion systems or mathematics, and I don't know what the top of the field in propulsion experts are capable of today. I don't know. There might be some shit that they're working on that they've never really perfected, so they've never actually implemented it in the battlefield or something like that, but they have some sort of a drone that looks like it would be filled with 3-foot-tall people, like these aliens that they described.
Right.
I don't know.
And they're not going to fill you in on that. If you think it's aliens, then fine. It's fucking aliens.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, who knows what that was? I mean, they're taking this guy who was a physicist from Los Alamos Labs who went to Caltech, and they sent him to these classes at MIT to learn fucking nuclear shit, and then they try to see if he can figure out how to back engineer something. They try to say, that doesn't mean it comes from another world. I mean, it could have been a Russian thing. It could have been something that the Germans figured out. I mean, I don't know. But I'm more inclined to believe him than not believe him.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was full of it, you know.
Exactly.
And just looking at him, he also seemed like he even wanted to be here.
He did. He was talking about it before we even got out here. It's like, I just gotta tell you, I'm getting a migraine.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Jeremy was trying to talk him into doing it. Like, we're gonna be fine, George. I mean, Bob, this is important. It's really good to do this, and we're gonna be able to really get the story out. But I think more people told me that they got more out of the conversation because it's just him talking, no spooky music, no edits.
Right.
And you get to see, like, he's honest about what he knows and doesn't know. And when he would say, like, what do you think about this? He's like, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's like, he wasn't a bullshitter.
He didn't rehearsed or full of shit, nothing.
No.
Like, what he was saying, if he didn't believe in that, at least to himself, what he was saying, I'd be fucking amazed.
And his story has not deviated in 30 plus years, which you can't. You try to have me tell a story of something that actually really did happen from 30 years ago, and I probably told it a bunch of different times.
I don't know what we started podcast with,
exactly.
you know?
It's hard, especially when my memory varies day to day. Like, some days it's awesome, and some days it's dog shit.
Yeah, it's crazy how that.
Yeah.
You've had a few concussions, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Same here.
Yeah.
I have horrible memory.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Brian,
scary part,
didn't you tell me those UFOs
That's
that they
what we're
found?
saying.
They were actually drones, Russian and China drones, they think. Do you know when I think you
Which one? The
posted
David for ones that they found in fucking San Diego that went from like 60 feet above the water to
Drone, son.
60,000.
Drone.
No.
They're saying they're Russian, Asian drones.
They don't even know what the propulsion system of these things
Well, that's what the
is.
government.
Fuckers, you coming after us for this bullshit? You guys are doing the same shit.
If that is a drone that Commander Fravor saw, that's off the coast of San Diego, where they scrambled to go meet this thing. It was hovering over the water. It moved so fast they could barely track it.
Chinese drone.
It violated all sorts of laws of propulsion and speed.
No, well,
not necessarily aliens. They
It
don't
could
know
be a
what the
drone.
fuck-
It could be a
They
drone.
don't know what the fuck it is. But here's the thing: the people that are at the front of the line of propulsion don't understand it. This is why it's confusing. The only way they'd be able to make this in secret. Scientists, the way they work is one scientist's paper influences the work of another scientist. They figure things out together. They're all in coordination.
That's cool.
Because they have to exchange information, because one guy can't be the fucking guy who lives in the middle of the mountain that's a super genius, like in Ex Machina, who makes his own people and no one else is aware.
Yes.
In the real world,
Also like
those
the Unabomber.
scientists all work with a bunch of other scientists.
Huge
They have
projects.
to.
Yeah, huge
so there's
projects.
not going to be a thing that just sneaks up on someone that's that monumental, where it just gets built.
And all of them were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But, Brian, am I going batshit crazy? They tell us it was
That's
drones.
what they said, yeah.
Okay.
Listen, man, that they don't understand.
When's the last time you flew a drone?
People, Good point. But the people that understand propulsion know that there's got to be something that makes them go. There's no heat signature.
Yeah, there's
no
nothing.
there's
It sounds
no
like a
jet coming out of
hologram.
the
You know when you
back.
have that red
but
pointer and
no,
you
they're
play with your cat?
tracing it. They're
You know?
tracing it on radar.
Yeah, they don't
They're
know how it's
tracing it on
moving.
all these
They don't know
different.
what's
Maybe holograms have come
all
up on
these
radar.
weapon systems that they use to lock in on physical targets.
The heat doesn't even come out. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it moves on radar faster than they can. And they've got video of this thing. They
What
got this,
did Elon Musk say?
infrared video.
Star Wars.
I didn't talk to him about it.
How dare?
Did now that you brought it up, I feel like I fucked up.
Gedalia-
Him.
You know he knows.
You're right. He probably has his own weirdo theater.
Or he's
probably
like,
got a
actually, I have
theory.
one of those drones, Joe.
It's probably him.
And then
It's probably
brings it
fun.
here next time.
That's what he does instead of sleeping.
Yes.
He has to pretend he's sleeping.
Yes.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I was watching TV. This happened a couple of weeks ago, and I started laughing because all that popped into my head was you when they released the footage of those UFOs. I was like, Joe Rogan is going to talk about this the next
so
day.
happy. I'm so happy. I love it.
But wasn't that released a year ago?
Well, it leaked. But
was
then
leaked.
the Pentagon finally look in the middle of the pandemic. What a great time to just admit there's UFOs. Because one of the things that I said on my Instagram, I was like, in any other time in history, if the government came out and said there are flying saucers that defy our understanding of propulsion and physics, the world would go crazy. But in 2020, people are like nothing.
Has it seen those pilots?
Well, I've had one of them on here.
Oh, so he's a
Dr.
believer.
Commander David Fravor. I had him on the podcast, and he was explaining the whole thing to me, like his experience off the coast of San Diego, running into one of these things. I mean, there's people that are debunkers. But they need to understand this is not just visual. They had very specific, like actual real data, including radar. They track these things. They use sophisticated military tracking. These are real objects. This is not like there's a lot of dummies out there that want to debunk everything, and they're just as much of a religious person as someone who's a true believer. They're a true believer that everything can be explained. Well, not everything can be explained, and these things can't be explained. When they're explaining how these things traveled at these like they went from like 6 feet off the ground to 60,000 feet in a matter of a couple of seconds. They fly in some way that these military aircraft pilots can't explain. They don't understand it, and they don't know what they are. Now, whether they're from another planet, that's never been proven. They might be interdimensional. They might be something from here. They might be some super sophisticated, top of the food chain, top secret stuff that they're exposing these people to just so they freak out and like let's see if they can get an explanation for this. Let's launch these things and have them fly past people at these preposterous rates of speed and see what the reaction is.
Do you think those type of secrets, if there are higher than the president? Do you think there's an organization that's above presidents?
100%. 100%. Here's why. Come and go. They come every 4 years. We're going to trust some dipshit who wins a popularity contest. Trump's a perfect example of that. Here's a guy who's not even a politician. Lifelong businessman who wins a popularity contest, gets to be in the most powerful office, most powerful position really the world's ever known. President of the United States. Commander-in-Chief of the greatest army this entire planet has ever seen. You're going to tell him?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, but I think that there's just very little that people really, the level of understanding that people have. Like, imagine the fact that we were fucking around with like nuclear bombs like 70 years ago. Like, no one even really knew what was happening. It's just like accidental, like just dropping them all the time in the ocean.
Oh yeah,
it's like fucking crazy.
The videos are insane,
dude. Nuts.
I showed them to a friend of mine the other night at dinner. Like, this is what it looked like. And you see the look on his face when the fucking mile-high wall of water comes out of the ocean.
Oh, my God.
It's so big, it doesn't even make sense.
The best,
like, holy fuck.
Right now, we're talking about this Russian hypersonic missile. Like, can you believe this weapon that, like, Russia has? Like, I was like, wait a second. The U.S. spends, like, 10 to 20 times the amount of money on weapons than Russia does. We have all that shit. I mean, but the hypersonic missile, I mean... that's that's probably what those UFOs, quote unquote UFOs from the videos that were circulating a couple of years are just because those things are fucking crazy, man. The ramjet shit that, but it's crazy. Is like Art Bell. When we used to drive on tour back in the day, like it'd be like we'd listen to Coast at night. There's nothing else, but you could find that scary ass shit, and you'd be looking over like the, Arizona skyline, like looking for shit.
Driving in the middle of the night,
hearing
this
this
Bell, that's the best.
And like around the time that that's when Art Bell's like family got captured. Like, what the fuck is going on? And George Norrie would come on, and then they were talking about ramjets and all kinds of shit. Like, I mean, that shit. It's actually. I think the ramjet's what the powers the SR-71. Like essentially, like it takes a whole tank of fuel to get that thing just up and going, like Mach 1 or 2, whatever, and then they have to refuel it to get it like ramming or whatever. So, but like those.
So they refuel them in the sky.
Yeah, it takes a whole tank to get them where they need to go.
That's the wildest shit ever. Pumping gas in the sky.
Dude, if you see the potential of these hypersonic missiles, have you? Dude, they. Like without even a warhead, they have like a megaton explosion just from the velocity of the speed. They can go like Mach 15 or something.
And they can change course.
Yeah.
They can't just predict, oh, this one's going to go to Seattle. No, it can turn left. You can go south.
You know that scene in like it's like Superman 2 where they have the ICBM and like he's like riding it. Like, dude, that's fucking insane.
I think you're right. That's probably a lot of what those UFO sightings were. I think a lot of the other ones are drones. Like the ones like... The famous one is that Tic Tac one that they found off the coast of San Diego, I think in 2004. Commander David Fravor saw this object that they had tracked. They even recalibrated their device apparently to make sure that it was accurate. But they read this thing at more than 50,000 feet above sea level, and it got down to 50 feet in less than a second.
Yeah.
And they don't know what it is, and they followed it around with their jets. And then the people on the Nimitz said, yeah, we've been seeing these for a couple weeks. These like super credible naval pilots. Guys who really understand like what's possible and not possible. And they watch these things dart off and just vanish with the kind of speed that like is just impossible. No propulsion signature. It doesn't like show that like anything's coming out the back like a normal jet. It just looks like a Tic Tac. Yeah. And it goes at an impossible speed. Like, what the fuck is that? That might be a drone. It might be some crazy fucking drone that they've been working on for decades, just not telling us about.
Oh,
when I saw the Pentagon was talking about UFOs, and they were talking about things from alien worlds, I'm like, yeah, really? Or maybe you guys have been making some cool fucking shit, and you don't want everybody to know.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, it's not us. We don't have any hypersonic fucking UFO-looking Tic Tacs.
Back to Phil Hartman when he does the unfrozen caveman lawyer. He's like, I'm not familiar with your modern ways, this legal system, but I do know my client's entitled to $3.5 million in punitive damages. It's like, it's alien technology. We don't know where it's
Why would the Pentagon ever tell us? Because I always wondered, like, because Tom DeLonge, he actually like worked with the government. Like, they brought him in to talk about aliens because he's that much of an alien freak. Yeah. And I think they thought that would like help,
Dude, he told me he was like they're cloaked. They're all above us. They're cloaked and they're scanning. And honestly, what he was describing was like satellites tapping into all of our phones and listening to everything we do, which is I think actually happening.
Yeah, but they don't even satellites to do that.
No,
they get right into the system. They can listen to everything you say. That's Gavin DeBecker, who's a security expert on my podcast, was explaining they used to have a clickable link. It used to be a thing you had to click, and then you would accidentally, without your knowledge rather, download some sort of a software that would take over your phone. Now they don't need that. So now they just need your phone number. They get your phone number. They're just listening to you. They're watching everything you do. They can do whatever they want now.
Dude, imagine the stupid conversations that these people have to listen to.
Yeah. Well, it makes more aware of how fucking stupid your conversations are if you think they can come up in a trial with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh, my God.
That kind of shit, when you realize, like, oh, my God, like everything you've ever said.
And he's now reading, like,
text messages and shit.
The vessel I donated my jizz to.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Jackie Gleason supposedly had an encounter with Nixon. That Nixon and Gleason were buddies, and they were drinking.
Really?
And
I did not know
It's
this.
a famous story that's disputed, but apparently...
Let's go with it, though.
Let's go with it. Gleason apparently had said that Jackie Gleason and him were drinking, and Nixon was like, "You want to see a fucking UFO?"
No way.
Yeah, and he flew him to see wreckage, and they had frozen biological entities, and they got a chance to see these things that they had frozen.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So that was like early 70s at some point.
Something like that. And Jackie wound up having a house built in the shape of a UFO afterwards.
No
Yeah,
way.
that was for sale as recently as I think like a decade ago. See if you can find
Where?
that house.
In LA or something?
No, it's in upstate New York. But the house looks like a fucking UFO.
No
Like he had a UFO house built. Yeah, Jackie Gleason apparently was obsessed with UFOs after the fact.
No.
So this
What?
is Jackie
that looks
Gleason's
like a
UFO
cabin.
inspired upstate New York spaceship house.
No way.
Yeah. That was
That
his
look like, and that picture makes it look bigger. Okay, that's serious.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
wow.
a fucking.
That's beautiful.
Oh, that's two different buildings.
Oh,
he has
the
more
first
than
one's
one
like
of
the
them?
guest house.
Oh, I see.
Small building.
Yeah, look at that.
That's the
fucking
guest house.
thing.
The other one.
Wild.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Jackie Gleason became a UFO freak.
Man, I'm gonna do that after this. That's a pretty cool looking house.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Oh,
I
wow,
wish it
look
was.
at that.
I wonder if it's still for sale.
That's
Entrance to
amazing.
the mothership. Woo!
I'm gonna talk to my wife about this when I get
Yeah.
home. This is serious right
Mhm.
here. Well, now you have this SIG Spear. So there's a lot of UFO stuff on this SIG Spear. So maybe this should be reserved for taking out the aliens when they come.
I don't want to take them out.
Well, if they attack you.
Listen, I don't think they're going to
attack.
attack.
If they attack.
If they do attack, I think they could render you useless almost instantaneously.
But them too. They're kind of like, why wouldn't they just sit back and watch?
I
Like,
think they're if
that's right by.
If I had to guess, I mean, just the wildest of speculations, I would guess that every civilization reaches a point of technological proficiency when they're also dealing with these territorial warring tribes where they have the ability to literally destroy the earth. And that if this is a natural course of progression for intelligent beings, they get to this point, there's a transition where it gets very dangerous. And if I was from another planet and I was monitoring this, I would be there to make sure that they don't launch. That they don't, and that's the theme of the Mothership Comedy Club. Is that the rooms are called Fat Man and Little Boy. And the reason why the rooms are called Fat Man and Little Boy is because that is a specific moment in UFO folklore when the aliens start arriving. After the detonation of those bombs, that's when you start seeing this massive uptick in sightings.
Really?
Yes. And interactions with fighter pilots and these different military bases that have nuclear programs where the bases get shut down and all the power goes off. Yeah, there's like
that's wild.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff because if you think that they are watching, that would make the most sense. That they see that we have nuclear power, we have the ability to blow ourselves up, and we detonate two bombs, and then they're like, okay, let's go monitor these assholes.
Let's go make sure that they don't do anything that's going to affect the rest of the
only
universe.
One country right now has them. Let's fucking specifically concentrate on them. And then they have sightings in the Soviet Union when the Soviet Union has the capabilities. And yeah, there's a ton of documented sightings and these encounters that happen. And then
so beforehand, there's not really anything.
Very little. Very little. Very well. I'm sure they've probably been visiting us. If they do visit us, I would imagine they've been visiting us forever. Like, look, they've got engines. Look, they've got guns. Look, they've got this. You know, it'd be fascinating to watch. Like, look at these territorial apes with nuclear weapons. Like, it's the time to watch.
Right now, they're just sitting back, popping that popcorn and being like, oh, man,
Well,
it's getting interesting now.
We're getting closer and closer to our fucking inevitable demise. Like, that's when the sightings are ramped up to the point where the Pentagon has to start talking about it.
And they are.
Yes.
In front of us.
Yes.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah.
But no one pays attention.
No one pays attention.
It's like, let's go back to, TikTok and Instagram.
Well, I mean, they kind of pay attention. There's nothing that you could fucking put your fork into.
Right.
You know, it's like, what is it? You know, like, why are they telling us about this? That's also, there's a lot of cynicism when it comes to like, why is the government telling us about UFOs?
Like a distraction, you mean?
But what is it? Like, what are they telling us because they really have this information and they want to slowly leak it out because this is an inevitable contact moment and they want to prepare civilization? Or is it just horseshit? Is it just they're distracting us and this is how they, institute this drone program where they have this, anti-gravity device and they can move at insane rates of speed? I don't know. I mean, it's just guesswork.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You get directly from these guys who've actually seen it, experienced it.
Yeah,
hang out and talk with them for a little bit.
I've talked to quite a few now, quite a few that have seen these things and had these experiences. But the Bob Lazar one is uniquely compelling.
All right.
Uniquely compelling because Bob is without a doubt a brilliant guy, and he was a legitimate propulsions expert who it's been proven he worked at Los Alamos Labs, and they tried to hide that. They tried to lie about that and say that he wasn't, but he's on the employee roster. He has an intimate knowledge of the facilities. They took him. George Knapp took him on a tour of Los Alamos. He knew where everything was. He knew the people there. They knew him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild shit, man. Because if he's telling the truth, he says is not one that they've recovered, but multiple, and that one of them they think is really old, and they got it from an archaeological dig. They think that they recovered this thing in the ground.
That's stuff. I mean, you see that in movies, and we all watch it in movies and think it's science fiction, but there's a lot of science fiction that has come to fruition, from submarines to going to the moon to also space travel in general, flying.
Sure, all of it. Every
we're just
Buck Rogers.
No big deal.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Doesn't always kind of seem like the most boring possible solution is usually the right one. It's like, what's the most boring thing? The most boring thing is nothing's happening, but you're imagining the dog is somehow has a telepathic link to you. Occam's the simplest, but it's also the most boring. Like, these crazy fucking UFOs. I'm sorry if you've talked about this a bunch on the podcast, but the UFOs that we're seeing, that the Navy is releasing these videos of these Tic Tacs zipping around, and it's Navy pilots. It's not the people we interviewed in that show. It's Navy pilots who are like, I don't know what the fuck this is, and I have great conversations with Uber drivers, and like we were talking about it, and this guy was like, and a lot of them are programmers and shit, and this guy was like, it's probably it's a glitch in the type of radar they're using. I think it must be a glitch. I mean, that's the most likely reality. They're not seeing it with their own eyes.
They're not?
I don't think so. I think they're just picking it up on radar, and so he's like, maybe it's a glitch, or maybe it's like...
We should find that out. Can you Google... if the pilots were picking it up on radar, the pilots spotted UFO, to see if because I know some guys have spotted things with their own eyes. I know for sure some guys have.
I'm not sure if the data's. I think
it's probably relevant to the conversation, though. It's probably a good thing that we know. People listening going, what the fuck? I get super skeptical. I feel like almost like it's a plot. I don't want to go full Eddie Bravo, but I feel like when I see people talking about UFOs, I'm like, okay, what else is going on? What are you distracting me from? Is this really a big issue? I was like, is it really happening? Well, can I see it? What do you got? Got nothing? Oh, you got like some radar. You got radar from 1, 2 pilots, 3 pilots. Okay, I believe it, but I want to see more. Why do I want to see more? Like, what am I? And you'll get caught up in it. It'll chew up hours of your day.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of those guys that we ran into on that show. I felt bad for them because they didn't understand what had happened to them. They had gotten caught in this weird loop of looking for secrets and looking for mysteries to be solved and looking for hidden conspiracies, and they get caught in that. And some of that shit is real, which is part of the problem. Some of it you can come across, the Gulf of Tonkin and the Northwoods, Operation Northwoods. You can come across a bunch of them that are real. Enron, you can see how they put that together. You're like, what? You could see real crazy conspiring.
Yeah.
And then you can get lost and think it's everywhere.
That's right. Yeah, well, I mean, this is like... Dude, I was just...
What is this, Jamie? Oh. According to Day, the AAVs, what does that mean?
Is that the new UFO?
How about you say UFO, you fucks?
Come on, yeah. We really changed UFO.
They have a little thing. We're AAVs. We don't refer to us as UFOs. These are my pronouns. Appeared at an altitude greater than 80,000 feet, far higher than commercial or military jets typically fly. Initially, the Princeton's radar team.
It's a radar. Really high process, Prince Story is what it's called. It's like a really high processing radar system or something.
Why is it spelled Princeton?
It is Princeton. It's just that apostrophe spot.
Oh, okay. The radar team didn't believe what they were seeing, chalking up the anomalies to an equipment malfunction. But after they determined that everything was operating as it should, they began detecting instances which the AAVs, I want to know what the fuck that means, dropped with astounding speed to lower, busier airspace. Day approached the Princeton's commander about taking action. He said, I was chomping at the bit. I really wanted to intercept these things. What?
Yeah.
That's we have the fucking craziest people country.
I know.
Like there's an alien, man. I want to chase it. I want to catch it by the tail.
Motherfucker. I was
catch it by the tail.
Put it in a fucking
Anomalous aerial vehicles. Get the
come on.
fuck out of it.
Whoever invented that new name is an ass.
He's an asshole.
Give us a break.
I was actually the one who decided to call them AAs.
Oh, come on.
Technically, it's not an unidentified flying object.
You're not taking our fucking UFOs, man. I'm going to fight that.
What is it again? What is the exact phrase?
Anomalous aerial vehicle.
Anomalous aerial vehicle.
It's an AAV.
You're an asshole.
It's
Anomalous. It's an anomaly.
I want to propose a new name for UFOs. Anonymous.
$1 billion study. Two fighters were to intercept one of the strange objects. When they first arrived on the scene, the pilots didn't see any flying objects, but they did observe what the lead pilot, Commander David Fravor, later referred to as a disturbance in the ocean. The water was churning with white waves breaking over what looked like a large object just under the surface.
Yeah.
Then they noticed one of the objects flying about 50 feet above the water. Fravor, the commander of the elite Black Aces Squadron, this is a goddamn Nicolas Cage movie, who is a Top Gun program graduate with more than 16 years of flying experience, described it as about 40 feet long, shaped like a Tic-Tac candy, with no obvious means of propulsion. It's white. It has no wings. It has no rotors. I go, holy shit, what is that?
Dude, the guy, whoever the company is that makes Tic Tacs, they were like, yes, call them Tic Tacs. It's free publicity.
Totally. Tic Tac is the one sponsoring this whole deal.
You think it is?
Yeah, man. People are buying Tic Tacs right now. Listen to this. You just say Tic Tac enough. You're like, you remember those old subliminal things you used to do in movie theaters when you were watching a movie and it'd say hungry, eat popcorn. Like every 100th frame they would stick like hungry, eat popcorn. They would put subliminal text on the screen. You'd be like, damn, I want some popcorn. If you just say Tic Tacs, people are buying Tic Tacs right now.
Well, we do know that pilot's got great breath, right? That's a Tic Tac man. If the first time you see a UFO, the first thing that pops into your head is it looks like a mint. That's nuts. There had to be other ways to describe it.
He's got stock attacks, bro, for sure.
I Googled Tic Tac after he said that because I couldn't remember if they were square or if they were they
look like I would expect a good UFO to look like.
Yeah. Kind of boring.
Yeah. Like super Apple-like. Like if Apple made a UFO.
Yeah. It's pretty sleek.
Yeah.
But the going into the ocean part, that's the part I like the best because that kind of lines up with Hollow Earth theory and maybe they're flying down. In the center of the Earth.
Of course, base in the Earth. Why wouldn't you have a base in the ocean? We never go there. Do you ever fly over? I was just in Hawaii. You fly over 5 hours of water. It's just water.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's that Strava app thing. I feel like we've talked about literally everything. You know the Strava app?
About it.
Okay, good. It's great, man. I love that I have to think I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. The heat maps, the Strava heat maps that seem to show people walking under the ocean and stuff.
Walking?
Yeah. We haven't?
No.
Oh, so yeah, because Strava, it's like I think it was Strava, right? It was like a way for you to track your steps. And some people apparently were in some bases in the Arctic or in the ocean walking around. And it showed up before they could turn that function off for top secret facilities, like the places they blur out on Google Maps.
So do you think there's a military base under the water somewhere where submarines go?
God, man, I want to think that, but I'm
always... in that movie, The Meg?
Yeah, I think it's probably a technical error, but fuck, maybe. I mean... I don't know. It's like the implication of these Tic Tacs and all of it, if you really want to the first to me, the most obvious one, minus the churning water evidence, is that it's some kind of equipment malfunction.
Well, it's also that they have an unlimited budget for black ops.
Yeah.
We don't know what that number is.
That's right.
We don't get to know.
Yeah.
Right? All that weird shit they do when they're making stealth bombers and all that Area 51 stuff.
Yeah.
How much money goes to that? What is the number? Let's Google this. How much does the U.S. spend on black ops?
I was going to bring this up in the middle of what you guys are talking. There's a program here that was going on. The AATIP, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, was going on and had a
just
budget.
the AA tip.
Yeah.
I'm just out of your money, but I'm just going to use the AA tip.
$22 million is what their budget was in 2012, and this said
lot
that
of money.
doesn't go on, but apparently it does. Luis Elizondo says it was still operating, and he is part of.
So
To the
they
Stars.
spent $2 million to see if the UFOs were a threat.
A year.
And then
I
there's
guess.
the To the Stars Academy.
Yeah.
That's
where he is now.
Tom DeLonge stuff.
Yeah. So
well,
some of it's still going on.
It's listen, I'm fucking rooting for it. I want it to be real. I would love it if it was real.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
What's the most compelling modern thing that you've seen?
Oh my God, I can't talk. Unfortunately, this is my frustration, Joe, because I know what I've seen. I know what my colleagues have seen, right? And to this day, there's video that's coming in on a regular, routine basis that is very, very compelling. And if the
How do they
American-
hide stuff from the general public?
Well, we have quite systems. We hide a lot
Right,
of
but how is it getting filmed? Is any of it getting filmed by the general public, or is all this military stuff?
Let me backtrack a little bit. There's a general public that is filming stuff, but from a Department of Defense perspective, our focus now. Arrow is a different story, but when I was in the government, we had to be very, very careful of something we called intelligence oversight. Back in the 60s and 70s, the U.S. intelligence apparatus, particularly in the Department of Defense, was kind of naughty. They were doing things they shouldn't do. They were spying on students, and they were spying on American citizens.
You
and they
don't
were doing
say.
things. Yeah,
Crazy.
Right? Say it isn't so. So Congress passed some laws and said, okay, you can no longer do this kind of stuff on American citizens, right? You can't conduct intelligence operations on American citizens. You can't do it. It's illegal, right? Okay. So you have Executive Order 12333 and all these other rules and laws and DOD 5240.1 that all come out and say no mas. So Department of Defense is supposed to focus on military. That's it. You don't bring in U.S. persons' information and ingest them into a Department of Defense database, especially a Department of Defense intelligence database. That's a super no-no. That's called U.S. persons' information, and it's pretty much verboten. So our focus was looking specifically at military-sourced information. I was not focusing at all on what the private citizens were seeing because at the end of the day, we couldn't use it. You can't do anything with it.
And it's like you got plenty of compelling footage from the military.
Overwhelming. There's absolutely no doubt that we didn't have to look at civilian data because we had better collection sensor systems from the military that was looking at stuff and giving us better insight.
You can't tell us about, can you give us some sort of an understanding of like what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Without being...
Okay. Yeah. There is a video, high-resolution video, of I can't say what platform it was taken from. I can't say where it was taken from.
Okay.
But an object that do you know how large an offshore oil derrick is? They're huge, right?
Yeah.
They're almost like a small city, right? They're like one city block. They're huge. They're enormous things. There is a video that shows one of these objects underwater that goes by, the speed was calculated between 450 and 550 knots underwater, and it was bigger than the offshore derrick that it was passing because you could see in the video the offshore derrick and you could see this thing zip right by it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of, right? A lot of them are reported as being transmedium.
So that exactly. Why do we use the term UAP, right? Now it's unidentified anomalous phenomenon because it's all domain. Initially it was UFO, unidentified flying object. And for several reasons they changed the name. One of them, not just because of stigma like people think, but because the word flying object means flight. And
Right.
you have to have wings to fly. That's flight. And these things don't have wings. So that term we're not even sure is even accurate anymore because they're not just flying. We see them underwater. We see them super high altitude. So the term was changed to unidentified aerial phenomenon. But again, that did not encompass all the observations we were seeing. So now the term UAP, I think the latest description of it is unidentified anomalous phenomenon to help describe this multi-domain or transmedium characteristic that we are beginning to see and record that these things can do. And that is I'm going to, if I can digress for a second, because that's super important, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
we have transmedium vehicles, right? We have things like seaplanes, and it's a plane and it can float on water. But let's face it, a seaplane is neither a really good plane or a really good boat because it's a compromise. It's a design compromise between an object that you want to perform in the air and in the sea. And that's why it's neither really good at both. Same thing with, for example, the space shuttle. It goes out into space and it can glide down, but it's not a very good airplane, comes down like a brick,
Right.
because there's design compromises and performance compromises. But what we are seeing doesn't have any of that attributable compromise. It's not, these objects aren't slowing down. They're not changing their performance capabilities. They can do the same thing that we're seeing in the air and possibly in space and even underwater. So that is a fundamentally different type of technology than we are used to dealing with.
The assumption that they are doing something with space-time and gravity around them rather than using something like a jet propulsion engine that blasts fire out the back and it makes it go fast forward.
Right.
That they're doing something that alters the gravity around them. And
So-
that's why they can go through everything.
Yeah, we had some of the best scientists on the team, folks like Dr. Hal Puthoff and some other folks that I'm not allowed to say their names, Dr. Eric Davis and some others, that were doing the calculations, mathematical calculations on how this is possible. And the consensus was by the scientists, not me, because I'm not a physics expert, I'm not an astrophysicist. They were saying that, so let me back up here. Initially, the government for years was trying to identify the different exotic technologies that could explain the different performance characteristics. And it was during the ATIP years that the scientists had this consensus that if you had one type of technology, if you could do one thing, all these other observables now become possible. Kind of think of like a unifying theory. And so if you had the ability to create this bubble around you in a localized area that insulated you from the effects of Earth's gravity. Now, what is gravity? People think that, when I drop my glasses, that's gravity. That's not gravity. That's an effect of gravity. Gravity is the warping of space-time. And that's important because people you hear the term thrown around a lot, but they don't realize that space and time are actually connected. They are one and the same. They're opposite sides, if you will, of the same coin. And so you can't have one without the other. And so you have this ability to create a bubble around you that insulates you from the warping of space-time, let's say in this case Earth's gravity or something like that. Then the way you experience time inside that bubble is perhaps fundamentally different than the way you might experience space-time outside that bubble because you're not subject to the effects of gravity, which would explain potentially why things don't need wings and why they don't need propulsion systems like that, right? So it's a completely different way of looking at how we understand physics and how we as humans move about. Everything we do is fundamentally force equals mass times acceleration, right? F equals ma, right? Mass times acceleration and you get force. This may be something a little bit different. This is not using, I said again, conventional thrust, or if I Newtonian, right? If I push this way, I have an equal and opposite reaction that way, right? That's how.
Are there any theories as to how it's accomplished?
There is actually. Dr. Hal Puthoff about 3 years ago gave a speech on this, a very interesting lecture about this technology. And if you ever have the chance, you really should have him on because he's an incredible human being. He's also the one who helped start the government's remote viewing program and a bunch of other stuff for the government. He's been involved in a lot of our nation's probably most classified efforts. But he was working with us on ATIP as one of our scientists. And he gave a lecture about 3 years ago to some other scientists about the specifics on how this is possible. I am not a scientist, so I'm definitely not going to speak on behalf of Hal Puthoff because I'm sure I will muck it up. But I do recall a time when he came into our skiff and gave us about a 3-hour lecture on this unifying theory. And at that moment, it was very much for us the epiphany that a lot of us had been searching for. He's like, look, at the end of the day, this is how it's possible. And that was kind of this, wow. So it's really not.
Can you give us a
voodoo magic.
moron's view of how it's possible?
Yeah.
Someone like me?
Yeah, well, I'm in that category, Joe. So
Good. We're speaking the same language.
Yeah, single syllable grunts, right? Yeah. So You have an object like this cup on your table, and you want it to be insulated from the effects of Earth's gravity. So you create this bubble artificially using a certain energetic source at a certain frequency, and it interacts with certain material, certain metamaterial. And I got to be careful exactly what I say, but certain skin of the craft, this aluminum via the cup here, and all of a sudden, whoop, you have this bubble around you where what you see on the outside is not necessarily what you see on the inside. In fact, may I do one more drawing for you? Okay, and forgive me, I'm not an artist, so I'm going to do this upside down for you, and then I'm going to kind of scoot this just a little here. All right, let's do this. So, unfortunately, I know your audience can't see this, but actually,
That's
probably
okay.
good.
Some people can. There's a video form of it.
Well,
I'm sure this will get on. It'll be on YouTube as well.
It's probably good that they don't, because I'm not an artist. But
Okay.
let's say this is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional space.
Okay.
And in essence,
so what you've done is essentially you created a three-dimensional looking grid stacked. It looked like stacked boxes on top of each other.
yeah, right. And so you have location A and location B.
Mhm.
And let's say I go from Los Angeles to Baltimore.
Okay.
And it takes me 5 hours to fly at 500 miles an hour. That's a function of distance over time. And in essence, you can mark that linearly like this. So I fly, takes me 5 hours, there I am.
Okay.
If you had the ability to compress space-time, and not a lot, just a little bit, and you were able to allow these points to be a little closer together, now in essence, what took you, let's say, 5 hours and 500 miles an hour to do it, you can do it in 1 hour, and you can do it in much less time. But to the observer outside, because we're still in the same universe, we would see something like that. We would see
Mhm.
this incredible hopscotching ability to, if you will, take a shortcut through space-time. And so what would appear to be instantaneous acceleration, hypersonic velocity, and other things, now becomes a reality. And so that is fundamentally what the scientists had discovered. And so it seems like science fiction, but when you understand the mathematics and some of the theorem that they've proposed, a lot of these other observables become possible.
Well, these are essentially just theoretical explanations of how these things are moving.
Yeah, again, I'm not a scientist.
I
I want to be
understand.
very careful. I don't want to misrepresent anything. There's a whole lot of other stuff that if you can do that, all of a sudden now makes sense and may describe the observations that people are seeing and why they're kind of hard to see and they seem
Mhm.
obscure.
Right.
And so I think from a governmental perspective, that it was kind of a revelatory moment for the folks in our program.
Realize one of the reasons why these things are weird looking is because they're creating. You want a light?
Do you mind? I'm
Yeah, take this.
Thank you.
So, the back thing, the other side. Push that down. There you go. Bam.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So, how much of this is theoretical and how much of this is observed from recovered vehicles?
I'm not allowed to talk about what the government may or may not have in its possession, other than that so I went through a very lengthy Pentagon review process. Recently, I wrote, I won't talk about it here, but I wrote something, and I had to go through Pentagon to have a review process, and it took almost a year. In this thing I wrote, I talk about up to the part I can talk about,
Mhm.
and they approved for me to talk about up to that point. When it comes to what the government may or may not have in its possession, all I can simply say is that there is very compelling evidence to suggest that the U.S. government is in absolute possession of exotic material that is not made by humans. Now, beyond that, I can't really expound upon. I haven't been given permission to talk about it. But what I can say is what I've already said for the record, which has been approved by the Pentagon. I won't get in trouble by saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we are there's very compelling data to suggest that we are in possession of
Why is the pen teasing us? Why do they tell you? Why are they allowing you to say we are in possession of something that was not made by human beings, but not allowed to elaborate, not allowed to show these very compelling videos that you're talking about that you've seen?
Well, two reasons. I don't think they have a choice. I think with now the introduction of cell phones and Ring cameras, the cat's out of the bag. It's the worst kept secret at this point. Two, there is a faction, unlike before in the Cold War, I believe there is a faction of people inside the government that do want this conversation to occur. But equally, there's still a faction of people that are very mad with me